Let's say you could file a report, a first-hand account, not of a war zone, not of a disaster, of somewhere no journalist, no astronaut, no explorer has ever been. And let's say someone already went, thousands of years before cameras, before satellites, before anyone had a word for what he saw. And let's say he wrote it all down, every detail, every hour, and that report was buried for 1,500 years, and when it came back, nobody knew what to do with it, because what he described doesn't fit in any category. Not religion, not science, not mythology. Something else, something that sits uncomfortably between all three. His name was Enoch, and this is what he saw, hour by hour. The Book of Enoch is not a comfortable read, not because it's confusing, because it's specific. Specific in the way that only someone who actually went somewhere can be specific. The kind of detail you don't invent, the kind that makes scholars either dismiss it immediately or go very quiet. We're going to take it seriously, not as scripture, as a report, a first-hand account from someone who had no reason to lie and every reason to be believed. Sit down and be still. The ancient sage is about to reveal what has been hidden from you for a very long time. The first thing you need to understand is what makes Enoch unusual. Not what he saw, what happened to him before he saw it. In Genesis, every generation gets the same obituary. So-and-so lived this many years, had sons and daughters, and died. Generation after generation, the same structure, until Enoch. When the text reaches Enoch, something changes. It says, Enoch walked with God, and then he was not, for God took him. No death, no burial, no tomb. At 365 years old, the exact number of days in a solar year, he simply ceased to be here. In Hebrew, Enoch means initiated, the one who was prepared for a 24-hour experience that no other human being on record has ever had. The Book of Enoch describes the departure with a precision that reads more like a flight log than a poem. Winds lifted him, clouds carried him, stars guided him. He felt the ground leave from under his feet. And then, the first destination, a wall, not a beautiful gate, not a welcoming entrance, a wall made of crystal, surrounded by tongues of fire. Enoch approached it, and the text records something that every honest reader notices. He was terrified. He fell on his face. This is not the reaction of someone seeing something pleasant. This is the physiological response of a biological creature encountering something that exceeds the brain's processing capacity. The wall was not decoration. It was a threshold between what physical beings are permitted to perceive and what lies beyond that permission. Past the wall, Enoch describes a structure. He calls it a house, but every element he describes violates the definition of the word. Walls of hailstone, ceiling like the paths of stars, intersected by lightning, cherubim of fire positioned between them. And then the detail that stops physicists cold. The floor was fire, the ceiling was fire, and heat and cold existed in the same space simultaneously. Heat and cold, at the same time, in the same location. This is not a poetic contradiction. This is a description of an environment where thermodynamic laws as we understand them do not apply. String theory describes dimensions where the physical constants that govern our universe simply do not hold. Enoch had no concept of string theory. He had no framework for what he was seeing. He just described it, accurately enough that the description has survived 2,500 years. Deeper in, a second structure, larger than the first, and here the account shifts register entirely, because what Enoch encounters now is not architectural, it is personal. A throne of crystal, surrounded by a river of fire, and on the throne, a presence. Enoch tries to describe it, and the language breaks. He says the garments were whiter than snow, brighter than the sun, that no angel could enter and behold the face of the one seated there. No angel. But Enoch, a human being made of dust, was standing in that room, seeing what the celestial beings could not look at directly. And the presence spoke to him, not with instructions, with a commission. Enoch, scribe of righteousness, go and say to the watchers who sent you to intercede for them, you should intercede for men, not men for you. Why did you leave the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lie with women and defile yourselves with the daughters of men? Enoch was sent back with a message, not for humanity, for the watchers, the 200 who had descended, who had broken a cosmic agreement, and who were waiting in the depths of the earth for what was coming. But the commission was not the end of the tour, because what Enoch saw next is the part that most people skip, and it is the most structurally interesting part of the entire account. He was taken to storehouses, chambers where the winds of the world are held before release, chambers for rain, chambers for hail, chambers for thunder, and then the detail that has no parallel in any other ancient text. He saw where lightning is prepared and where the clouds that carry it are kept. Think about what this implies, not that weather is divine, but that the natural systems of this planet have infrastructure, management, a back end that operates behind what we observe. Enoch was seeing the operating layer, the part of the system that users don't normally access. From the storehouses, Enoch was taken somewhere else entirely, and the shift in the text is immediate. Everything that came before was characterized by terror, by overwhelming sensation, by the physical body's inability to process what it was experiencing. The garden is different. Trees with fragrances he had never encountered. A specific tree, tall, leaves that did not wither, fruit that did not fall, and a fragrance unlike anything in his experience. The angel traveling with him explained, "No creature of flesh shall touch this tree until the great judgment. When the righteous are exalted, then it shall be given to them." Enoch did not ask when the great judgment would come. He just stood there, looking at something that belonged to a time that had not yet arrived. A promise in the form of a tree, waiting. From the garden, Enoch was taken in the opposite direction. And this is where the account becomes most difficult to sit with. He saw an abyss, deep beyond measurement, with pillars of fire descending into darkness, and from the darkness, voices. The angel explained what it was: the place of the spirits of the dead, the souls waiting for judgment. And then, the detail that separates Enoch's cosmology from simple moral binaries. The abyss had divisions, a section for those who died righteously, a section for those who caused suffering, and a third section for those who didn't fit neatly into either category. Enoch's universe was not black and white. It had chambers for complicated histories, for stories that don't resolve cleanly, for people who were both. Enoch was taken north, and he saw mountains, but not mountains as he had known them. One of gold, one of silver, one of a luminous metal with no name in his vocabulary, and one that was made of something he could not identify at all, that did not reflect light, that generated it from within. The angel explained that these were the foundations of the throne, the structural pillars of what exists, the load-bearing elements of the cosmos. Enoch was not seeing the surface of something, he was seeing the frame, the architecture underneath the architecture, the thing that holds everything else up. And then the final hours. Before the return, Enoch was taken to a vantage point, a position from which he could see the earth, from outside it, from a perspective that no human being had ever had. He saw the four winds holding up the sky, the pillars of the heavens, where the sun rises, and where it sets. And he saw the earth as it actually is, not as it appears from inside it. Small, specific, temporary in a way that is hard to articulate unless you have seen it from where Enoch saw it. When he came back, he was not the same. Not because he had seen beautiful things, because he had seen scale, the actual scale of everything. And against that scale, the things that feel large from inside a human life looked very different. So what did 24 hours in that place actually produce? Not power, not wealth, not a following. A manuscript. The most detailed cosmological account produced by a human being in the ancient world. A report on the structure of what exists beyond what we can see, on where the dead wait, on how the natural world is managed from a layer we don't have access to, on what grows in a garden that no living creature can yet touch, and on what it looks like when you see this planet from far enough away to understand what it is. He came back, sat down with his children, and wrote everything, so that no one who came after him would need to make the same journey to know. He wrote so the information would survive, even if the book was banned, even if it was removed from the canon, even if it disappeared for 15 centuries, because some accounts don't die, they wait. In 1947, a shepherd's thrown rock broke open a clay jar in a cave near the Dead Sea, and inside were scrolls, including the account you just heard, preserved for over 2,000 years, waiting for exactly the moment when someone would be ready to read it carefully. 24 hours in a place no map shows, reported by a man with no agenda other than accuracy, and a question he didn't answer directly, but embedded in every line he wrote. If you could see this planet from far enough away to understand its actual size, what would you do differently tomorrow morning? The ancient sage has revealed what was hidden. What you do with it is yours to decide.